Hillary Clinton wants to run for president again. And, part of the theme is going to be class warfare. The rich are bad. We got to get the rich. There's all this income inequality. Well, the problem with that is that the Clintons are also rich. They're really rich, right? Their net worth is about 100 or 50 million, I think $50 million. I think the Clintons have earned $100 million or so in the last several years, and they now have 50 million or so in net worth or something like that. I mean, these are big numbers. And of course, what do they do for their money? They don't really do much. They give speeches. Bill Clinton gets paid, I think, $200,000 to give a 40-minute speech. What does he say? Nothing. He just reads what somebody wrote for him. They write books, and they get huge advances on books that they don't even write. They have ghostwriters. Hillary Clinton's book, she got, a $12 million, $15 million advance? I doubt she spent more than a couple of days going over some talking points or writing points with her ghostwriter. So they get paid to have people ghostwrite books for them, and they talk. They don't really do anything, and they don't really say anything, but people just want to have them at their event because it's the former First Lady, it's the former Secretary of the Trade, it's the future president, or in respect to Bill Clinton, it's the future first husband, or the past president of the United States. These are high-profile people. If you have an event and Bill Clinton is doing the keynote speech, that, a lot of people might pay a lot of money. They think it's a big event, and so they're going to go there. But they don't really do anything. And, of course, they also have a lot of influence, and so they're able to sell that. So that's where they get all their money. Yet Hillary Clinton tried to say, well, when we graduated, when we left the White House, we were broke like average Americans who are broke. I mean, maybe technically they were broke, just like Donald Trump was technically broke when he was filing for bankruptcy because he had a negative net worth. Now, he wasn't really broke. He was still living, like Donald Trump, even though technically he was broke. Well, the same thing for the Clintons, because they owed a lot of money when they left the White House, because they run up a lot of campaign debts. But, of course, they weren't really broke because they had massive income earning capacity as the ex-president and the ex-first lady. They were able to raise a lot of money very quickly. They were never broke. They never had to worry about putting food on the table, just like Donald Trump never had to worry about it, even though technically he was broke. So when the Clintons try to build this rags to riches phony baloney story, they were broke and then, they had to start from scratch, they didn't have to do anything. Once they left the White House, it was all handed to them on a silver platter, and they made a lot of money very easy. And now Hillary Clinton is trying to say, well, yes, we do have $50 or $100 million, but we're not really rich. I mean, not compared to other people. Well, I suppose compared to the billionaires that they hang out with. I mean, if you hang out with people that are worth $2 billion and $5 billion and $10 billion, yeah, I can see how the Clintons feel that they're kind of poor, right? They don't have the wealth of billionaires who might have really earned their money. I mean, not all of them, but a lot of them earned their money. They did really interesting things, and they created huge businesses, and they earned their billions. But the Clintons didn't do much of anything other than be president, which, again, it's not an easy thing to become president of the United States. But they only have millions. And I suppose compared to billionaires, yeah, they're poor. But compared to the vast majority of American citizens, they're stinking rich. And it actually shows how out of touch they are to say, well, we're not really rich. I mean, we're not that well off. Yeah, because they don't have Bill Gates money. Well, so what? How many people do? They've got a lot of money, and they don't have to work very hard to get it. In addition to all that money, they get a bunch of free money from the taxpayers. I think since Bill Clinton has left office, he's gotten like $12 or $15 million from the taxpayers. This is not even his pension and stuff like that. This is just to pay for his office expenses and stuff like that. Well, why do we have to provide office expenses? Why do we have to supply office personnel to ex-presidents. I mean, what is the job of an ex-president? Are they still on the payroll? Do they actually have any responsibilities? No. So why are we paying them? I mean, if they're running businesses like the Clintons are, why can't they operate and pay for their own expenses? Why can't they cover their own overhead with the millions and millions of dollars that they earn? Why do we have to supplement it by giving them even more money? You know, they're trying to appear that they're down-to-earth, ordinary guys when they're just as rich as all the people that they want to criticize. And it shows, you know, I've mentioned before on the show that they are out there advocating for very high estate taxes, high inheritance taxes. Meanwhile, they're hiring expensive lawyers to put their assets in trust so that they're exempt from the very estate taxes that they want everybody else to pay. There's hypocrisy. And look at their daughter, who I mentioned earlier in the show, Chelsea. She was just interviewed. And, you know, in reference to working for a hedge fund or the fact that she got paid $600,000 for basically a no-show job at NBC, she said, yeah, she tried working for a while. She tried caring about money, but she really couldn't because she's so far above that. You know, she's such a good person. She's so noble. She cares so much that she tried. She tried her best to be a money grubber like everybody else, but she just couldn't do it. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't care about money. Yeah, I guess when your parents are really rich and your husband is really rich, she married a hedge fund guy, a former high-up guy at Goldman Sachs who now owns his own hedge fund. You know, originally when they first got married, they lived in a $4 million apartment, but they traded up to a $10 million apartment. You know, Chelsea Clinton's wedding cost $3 million. $3 million. So I guess if you have a $3 million wedding, you live in a $10 million apartment with your hedge fund husband, and your parents have got $100 million, right? I guess it's easy not to care about money. I mean, why care about something that you have plenty of? Why care about something that isn't even a concern? She just spends money. She doesn't care about it. She just spends it. That's how little she cares about it. She doesn't have to earn it. She just spends it. You know, I wonder how much Hillary Clinton would care about money if she was poor. If she really was broke, would she care about money then? I think she would. Right? She doesn't care about it because she has it and she doesn't need it and she didn't earn it. She was born into it and she married it. So it's very easy to make these statements as if somehow you're above everybody else, that all us little people, you know, we're just greedy. We care about money, but not her, not Chelsea, you know, because no, she's too much of a humanitarian. She cares about all the important things. She couldn't care less about money. Well, then how about, why didn't they just get married at the city hall, and why didn't they just donate that $3 million to charity? If she cares so little about money, why'd she have to have a $3 million wedding? Couldn't they just say, I do, you know, at City Hall, and then put that $3 million to good use? Just the thought. 855-4SHIFT is the number. We got a commercial. We'll be right back. You can always access the Peter Schiff Show commercial-free and on demand by becoming a Schiff Premium member. Go to SchiffRadio.com and become a member today.
It's clear to just about everybody that the global economic sands are shifting. Have you positioned your investments to help ride the tide? For more than a decade, U.S. stocks have gone nowhere, even while inflation has steadily eroded the dollar's purchasing power. And now, with Washington's money machine spinning out of control and deficits and regulations swamping American productivity, U.S. stocks are looking even riskier, and the bond market may be the next bubble waiting to pop. But most brokers and financial advisors still offer the same tired investment formula. If you're ready to move on with the times, why not speak to someone who understands what's going on? Euro Pacific Capital offers international non-dollar denominated investments to ordinary Americans. In 6 offices coast to coast, Euro Pacific brokers closely adhere to the strategy of the firm's president, Peter Schiff. If you have $25,000 or more to invest, call them to see if Peter's formula may be right for you. 800-727-7922. That's 800-727-7922. Or visit on the web at europac.net.
Attention small business owners. Growing your business can be tough. Just when you thought you were making money, you found out that you owe the government money. And now that you owe the IRS their cut of your business profits, you may be broke. And if you don't take things seriously, you could go to jail or have your business shut down. But you do have an option. If the IRS is threatening you for unpaid taxes, call the Tax Resources Network. Their tax professionals and ex-IRS agents have over 23 years of experience dealing with the IRS, saving business owners and the self-employed millions in tax dollars. Let us negotiate with the IRS on your behalf. We may be able to reduce your tax debt for a lot less than you owe, help with the IRS audit, and even criminal investigations. If your business owes the IRS $15,000 or more and the IRS is threatening you, don't wait and let your business get shut down or worse. Call for a free consultation. Call 800-797-0891. 800-797-0891. That's 800-797-0891. Again, 800-797-0891.
In today's rapidly changing healthcare environment, are healthcare providers really keeping patients well informed about costs? I'm Risa Jo Miller. According to a recent national TransUnion healthcare survey, only 25% of Americans are offered pre-treatment cost estimates by healthcare providers, despite growing demand for this information. The survey also shows that while many Americans are paying closer attention to healthcare costs, only 12% of Americans find it very easy to get cost information before receiving medical care. TransUnion Healthcare Senior Vice President Dave Wojcinski.
Today's cost-aware consumer has a greater expectation that providers will offer upfront cost estimates and timely and accurate post-treatment bills. With consumers placing more emphasis on billing and payment when evaluating quality of care, it's imperative that providers have the technology and processes to meet consumer demand.
For more on TransUnion's survey and healthcare developments across the country, visit transunionhealthcare.com.
A turkitarian is anyone who can't get enough of delicious Butterball turkey. You might be a Butterball turkitarian if any of the following apply to you. You use wishbones to wish for more turkey. When people call you a turkey, you take it as a compliment. After you eat your Butterball turkey burger, you miss it terribly. You think the best place to store a Butterball turkey deli sandwich is in your mouth. Your ideal serving size of turkey is infinity. If this describes you, join other turkitarians at Butterball.com and get an instant coupon now. That's Butterball.com.
Do you live with stress? If you have nervousness or common everyday anxiety, we're looking for you. Because right now we're sending risk-free supplies of a fast-acting supplement to listeners of this station. You heard right. Every listener who calls right now will learn how to get a risk-free bottle of Stress Block, a naturally derived formula that promotes feelings of calmness, alertness, and focus in just moments. Supplies for this risk-free offer are limited, so don't wait. Just call 1-800-489-9092. Stress Block is a fast-acting, non-prescription formula to support relaxation without causing drowsiness. Your nervousness is guaranteed to begin fading like magic in just minutes. This special risk-free offer is for listeners of this station, but it won't last. Call us now for this exclusive Stress Block risk-free offer. Just call 1-800-489-9092. That's 1-800-489-9092. Call 1-800-489-9092.
Every summer we go to Canyon Woods. Love getting outside. Love the hiking. Hate the itching and irritation from poison ivy, bug bites, all the things that keep me inside. So I need something strong.
Cortisone 10 Intensive Healing is clinically proven with the strongest non-prescription itch medicine available for fast, long-lasting relief of itching and irritation with 7 moisturizers to help heal skin.
I finally have the relief I need.
Hey, Jan, check this out.
On my way.
Cortisone 10. Feel the heal.
Whether you are on the treadmill or the train, listen on your iPhone, iPad, or Evo. You'll always have access to The Peter Schiff Show. Become a premium member and get unprecedented access to the show any way you want it.
Since The Peter Schiff Show was last on the air, the national debt added another $7.89 million.
Luckily, Peter's intelligence is growing twice as fast.
That's incredible.
Welcome back to your source of sanity in an insane world. It's The Peter Schiff Show.
We're just talking about the Clintons and, trying to weasel out of the predicament that they're unfortunately in, the predicament of being really rich when they're trying to create a campaign based on class warfare, envy, and hatred for the rich. So that's going to be a big problem for the Democrats because there are a lot of very rich Democrats. I played this sound on the show before from the senator, what was it, from Nevada, saying that that there are no Democratic billionaires. That the problem is, we have all these billionaires, but our side doesn't have any, meaning that, there's no Democratic billionaires. And, of course, there are. Harry Reid was the senator. There are. So that was interesting listening to. I've got some sound of both Joe Biden and former President Bill Clinton, but talking about how poor they are or how poor they were, as if this is some badge of honor that they can wear to show. Look, we're one of the good guys, right? We're poor, we're good. See, if you're rich, well, then you're a bad guy. The poor guys, we have the white hats on. The rich guys are wearing the black hats. So you don't want to vote for them. You want to vote for us because we're on your side, right? And because, they're making so many Americans poor that, they want to be like us so that they win the majority of the votes. They want to get the votes from the poor people. And, of course, the more poor people the government creates, the greater the poor vote is. So you really want to appeal to the poor, and you want to kind of be one of them. So here's an example of Joe Biden, taking credit for being poor. And talking about why, hey, this is such a great thing because I'm so poor. Here, cut number one.
We used to say in the Senate, a point of personal privilege. I can speak a little bit from my own experience. Now, the first thing I was going to say is, look at Biden, man. He's got a mildly expensive suit on. He's vice president of the United States of America. He makes, notwithstanding he's listed as the poorest man in Congress, he still makes a lot of money as Vice President of the United States, and I do, by the way. I do. Don't hold it against me that I don't own a single stock or bond. Don't hold it. I have no savings account. But I got a great pension, and I got a good salary.
All right, so he's bragging about the fact that even though he earns a lot of money as Vice President of the United States, he's blown it all. He doesn't have a single bond or a stock. He doesn't have a savings account. So what he's actually saying is he's just as reckless and irresponsible with his own money as he is with our money. The only thing standing between Joe Biden and poverty is his congressional and vice president pension that he's getting from the taxpayers. That despite his lavish salary, he hasn't saved a nickel. Nothing. He doesn't have anything. I mean, what kind of management of your personal finances is that? The guy is retirement age, and he's broke and depending on his pension. Now, he's not broke because he's got this great pension, courtesy of the taxpayers. But do you really want a guy as vice president? And, in fact, people were saying, hey, maybe Biden should run for president. Should we have a president that's never owned a share of stock, that's never owned a bond, that hasn't even had a savings account? I mean, what kind of president is that going to be? The guy who can't even manage his own finances, and he wants to manage the finances of the whole country. He should be ashamed of the fact that he's as old as he is, he earns as much as he is, and he's got no investments. He's got nothing. He's got no savings. He hasn't done anything. He's got nothing to show for all the income he earned except a pension that he was paid by the taxpayers. I mean, what about his wife? Does his wife not have any stocks or bonds either? I mean, the guy ought to be embarrassed about that. I mean, is that what the typical American should aspire to, getting to Joe Biden's age and have no money in the stock market, no money in the bond market, no money in a savings account? Is this what we're supposed to be looking up to? This is what we should be. He should be talking about how much money he's got in the stock market, how much money he saved, how much money he invested. Right? That would be something that you would brag about. Not about the fact that you've got nothing, that you've been a complete irresponsible spendthrift, that you've spent every nickel you've made and you haven't put anything aside. Yet somehow this is supposed to be a good thing because it means he doesn't have any money. Yet somehow, had he put money in the stock market, had he just not indulged his every whim and bought all kinds of stuff, because he obviously spent the money. We know he doesn't give much to charity because we've seen his tax returns, and there's basically no charitable expenses. So he doesn't invest. He doesn't give to charity. That means he just spends his money on himself. He's just selfish. He spent all his money in a selfish way on himself, and somehow we're supposed to respect that. And if he had been more frugal in his life, had he deferred his consumption and saved money, well, that would be a reason to think he was a bad guy. Here's a little bit. Here's Bill Clinton talking about how poor he was, when he was elected president. Here, cut number 2.
I had the lowest net worth of any American president in the 20th century when I took office. But I still could have been tone deaf. And you know, now I don't, and we've got a good life, and I'm grateful for it. But we go to our local grocery store on the weekend. We talk to people in our town. We know what's going on. The real issue is, if you've been fortunate enough to be successful, are you now out of touch and insensitive to the agonizing struggles other people are facing? That's the real issue.
Well, first of all, I would say they are out of touch because Hillary Clinton doesn't think she's rich because she's only comparing herself to billionaires. She's not comparing herself to everybody else. She doesn't even think they're really truly well off. And when she got out of the White House, she actually thought she was broke, right? That's what she thought. She wasn't broke at all. They were still rich. So they are out of touch. But, you know, bragging about, yeah, I had the lowest net worth of any American. Well, is that something that you should brag about? That you were broke, that you didn't matter. Now, true, he was elected president at a younger age than most presidents. So I think maybe his youth had a lot more to do with his lack of wealth than anything else. I mean, so you know, that's probably more to do with it than anything else. I mean, he was a young man relatively when he was elected. But you know, shouldn't what you achieve in the private sector, shouldn't that be something that would be a positive? Like in the case of, you know, Mitt Romney when he ran. He was a very wealthy, successful businessman. I mean, they tried to use that against him as if somehow accumulating wealth in a free market or in theoretically a free market is a bad thing. Because, again, the rich people are bad. You know, they're the reason that you're poor. They're hogging all the money for themselves. If they just weren't so rich, you would have more. So that's what Biden was doing, or that's what the Clintons are doing. By not making as much money, they're just allowing other people to have more. But what people don't understand is that when you accumulate wealth through production, through innovation, through creating businesses and producing products, you are enriching the lives of everybody else. If you don't do any of that, if you just spend the money that you earn, if you don't invest, if you don't create, you're not benefiting anybody. You're not growing the economic pie. So everybody else doesn't have more to eat because you're not producing more food. Right? You're just living off of what everybody else produces. And that's all that people that don't have wealth have done, yet somehow they're trying to elevate that to the moral high ground. And if you're out there working, creating businesses, creating products, creating jobs, well, somehow you're screwing everybody over.